Welcome to the IPG Network. Today's discussion is how to buy a business, and our expert today is Yomi Richardson. Welcome.
Thank you.
The first question I have is, what type of business can you buy in this city of ours?
Well, you can buy basically anything in New York City. Bakery, flower shop, dog running business, architecture firm. It depends on what your needs are, and IPG is definitely there to help you. So whatever you're looking for, we can provide it for you.
When you buy a business, different than buying, let's say, pure real estate, do you have to make a down payment?
Yes. And the down payment will vary based on the type of business it is and your financial situation as well.
Do banks, typical commercial banks, do they provide lending or financing to buy a business?
You can use traditional lending, but there are also other alternatives, which are co-opting. If you don't have enough money to buy the business on your own, you can find out, you can ask the seller actually if anyone else was interested, and if they didn't have enough, you can actually co-op with those potential buyers.
So forming a joint venture or
Yes.
a partnership.
Exactly.
And I guess the seller could also provide financing.
Yes.
Hold paper. Can you tell me a little bit about the real estate or the lease, when you buy a business? So let's say you have a client that wants to buy a business and there's a lease.
Mm-hmm.
How does that work?
What I would suggest is the client would get a hold of the lease and bring it to us, and IPG can actually look at the lease and give you, in the plainest terms possible, the length of the lease, whether or not it's transferable, which in most cases it is, and make sure that it's good for the client.
In these leases, in which are going to be transferred over or signed over, are there any nuances or little details that you have to pay attention to?
Yes. Actually, one of the most important ones is making sure that the landlord, the current landlord, is aware that you may or may not want to assign the lease. So you would have to get his or her permission to do so.
In regard to buying the business, I assume that what the business is worth is very important. So how do you value a business?
Well, you would get a list of all of the assets, all of the fixtures, furniture, everything that is tangible in the business from the seller, and get a valuation of that. And that's normally just gathering inventory. You would determine the market price of the market value of the fixtures as they are now, and versus how much they were worth the past 2 fiscal years prior.
So Yomi, aside from calculating the inventory and the fixtures and the hard assets, what other ways are there to evaluate a business?
You could take the multiple of the gross income and the multiple of the net income and come to a valuation that way.
Okay. Why would you, Yomi, why would you buy an existing business as opposed to starting one from scratch?
It's a great question, actually. Most people, when they think of starting a business from scratch, they think of their dreams and putting this all into something tangible that can be amazing down the road, but they don't factor in having to establish a market base, having to have to find new customers, and having to pay for employees, and covering all the different costs and the startup costs that it would take to bring the business to fruition. As opposed to buying an existing business, you have something that is already established. You have a customer base that is usually loyal if you're buying a profitable business. There's already a cash flow involved and profit margin involved. And you have employees that are very knowledgeable about the business, and you can literally hit the ground running, and they can help you along the way.
So Yomi, there are lots of people out there who have never bought a business before,
Mm-hmm.
and if they hire someone like yourself, a real estate professional, a business advisor, how would you help them?
They'd be coming to an expert, and that means that we can pre-screen the business for them and take their best interests and focus them on what they're looking for. And we can also help them avoid certain pitfalls, such as a seller who doesn't want to provide full financial information, and can move beyond most of the headache that's involved in trying to find out whether or not this is a viable business for you and whether or not it fits your needs.
If someone's buying a business, why would they need someone who knows real estate?
That's a great question. Most people in New York City, anywhere, they do not have the information that we have as brokers, as real estate agents. For instance, IPG can actually negotiate the deal for you. They can make sure that you don't have to worry about due diligence. You don't have to worry about someone who is not legitimate, and you can actually take a good deal of stress off of yourself by hiring a real estate professional to do all of the legwork for you.
So Yomi, if someone gives you a call and they're a first-time business buyer, they're interested in buying something in New York City, what would you ask them to bring along with them when they come to see you?
The most important things that you need, the specific criteria, are proof of funds, a resume, some type of biography background, something small, not too elaborate, and a business plan, something that pretty much encapsulates what they are looking for, so I can be in a better position to help them find whatever they're seeking.
Yomi, when someone calls you or comes to see you and they work a corporate job or they're doing something else with their life and they express to you that they want to buy a business, how do you handle that? What do you speak to them about?
Well, the first thing I like to do is make sure I can sit down with them and meet with them in person, because that way I get a feel of whether or not they're up to the challenge, because it is going to be challenging. Something like this, especially if they're already in a corporate job or they have a job and this is their first dive into something like this, I want to make sure that I can hold their hand without actually holding their hand. And if they're confident and they're passionate about what they want to do, then I will be as well. So
great. That sounds great. Thank you so much for being with us.
thank you very much for having me.